Hey buddies, welcome to Mass Games. My name is Simon and today I'm going to talk to you about the game Doodle Dungeon. So this is by Ulrich Boom and the illustrations are by John Kulvik. So this guy is there behind the illustrations for the very popular game Munchkin, of which I do have a signed autograph by John, and that was very kindly presented to me, which is very nice. And a little doodle as well, funny enough, because it's a doodle. So it'd be very interesting to bit. I'm not a big fan of Munchkin whatsoever, just because it has like kind of thresholdy feel. It seems to go on and on and on. But this is a 2 to 4 player game for 10 ages up, and it takes about 45 to 60 minutes. I like my roll and write games. This is kind of like a dungeon scrawl or dungeon crawl and write. And there are other games like it. There's Paper Dungeons, amongst other things. There's, well, Cartographers, you might say it's a bit similar. A game that I received way ahead of its kind of massive explosion. So by all means, check that out on the channel as well. Also, whilst I'm just going through this, please ensure that you hit the like button, you subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and also make sure that you check out that description. There's things such as, obviously, Patreon, if you want to know more stuff. I've got people who are anonymously helping and, for example, going to get better mic and things like that. We actually have a pencil sharpener in here. So we have sharpened pencils already, but as and when we'll need to do it, it's nice to actually see one. Of course, you can use that for other games. Other games, I think, including Cartographers, they do include pencils, but yeah, who has sharpeners these days? So we can obviously try out this stuff as well. An eraser, a rubber, that's very, very, very handy, considering I've been laminating so many things because that can be tricky. So we've got some silica gel, obviously got some nice wooden pieces in here. Most of it seems to be plasticky, that's fine, especially of course the rubber. And of course check out those comments, please let me know what you think about this, if this is the kind of thing you're after. I definitely won't be able to laminate it based on the lamination sheets I have, although I do know some people with A4 sheets. So we've got 4 dice, I think we can try this with the dice distancing video, so please check out the playlist for dice distancing to see how far dice roll. Lots of people quite addicted to seeing how that works. So yes, we have a D10 here and it goes from 1 to 10. There's no 0, so 1 to 10. We've got this little small thing here. I'm not sure what that is. We'll have a look in due course. Very well wrapped up. So this is by Spieler. There's also a playlist called Spieler, particularly after games such as Port Royal and those size games. I've been very impressed with what you can get out of a game that size. So by all means, check out that playlist, of course, as well as this playlist, which is going to have the unboxing, the preview, the teaser, because lots of people necessarily don't want to see a review, which I also do, but they do want to see what's inside the box, because if they can see what's inside the box, it lets them know if it's something that they're after. So little shapes, oh wow, little stencil things, you can draw things on your little page. So there we go, you can draw your little thingy. Well, that's very nice, because sometimes, especially in things like cartographers, it's not very easy to draw some things. So you've got this thing too, it looks like a little score pad, double-sided. I think everyone's getting a message now about double-sided stuff. This is also double-sided. And if we turn it over, they look identical. So it's not like there's any variety there, not that that's a bad thing. The variety obviously seems to be coming from here. So let's crack on and have a look at these pretty large cards. These are larger than most cards. They're larger than what I call tarot cards as well. Not Dixit size, and I don't know why I didn't use I shouldn't call it a cigarette thing, but that kind of label there. But no, look forward to trying this out. It might become a playthrough as well, as a playlist channel as well. Quite thick card, we're talking about 350, 375 GSM, quite thick, maybe not that thick. So you've got some heart healing potions, you've got some talisman, roll 2 additional dice in a fight to remove the 2 lowest dice, then determine strength. So we've got various things going on that. That healing one is at the start of the next turn. The hero gains some strength, so we're trying to make this dungeon and get out, but we're trying to not let the hero get out, I believe. And the next fight, the monster has -3 strength. Oh dear, we're a bit weaker here. Aiming boost, we're trying to get that person. Oh, that's very nice art as well. The leap, the next time the hero encounters a trap, they ignore the trap. So there's basically the little kind of icons, little places that we're drawing and moving and to go to. We have got the goblin dagger, +3 strength for a goblin, and if victorious, do some damage. So yeah, we're making that maze and it goes around. Aside from that, what else is in here? Well, of course, we need those rules as well, and those are under here too. So very, very thick. You know, this is a 1.2 kilogram box. We've got these, the laws of basically how each of the things move. As you can see, it's just in English. So play this action after you roll a die in a fight involving a monster, increase them strength by 3. So that's just a little cheat sheet, it's very handy. Just a 1, it's going to pass it around, but it doesn't seem particularly complicated game. It's going to be passed around and play as you need it. I recognise the translation author there as well. So, you own your dungeon. You've dreamed about it for years, until now you could only spread fear and terror as a dungeon tenant. Until now your fortune wasn't depleted, due to adventurous heroes who overestimated themselves and probably rot as corpses in their pathetic armour anyway. No, it was your constant rent increases from the dungeon rental companies that drove you to ruin. They claimed the increases were justified due to all the repairs necessitated by hero infestations. But that's all over now. Your own dungeon. Chance brought it your way. During a shopping excursion in the Fallen Outlet Centre while looking for new traps, you discovered a postal ad. Dungeon for sale, direct from the owner. This was your opportunity to finally stop throwing your coins away to your landlord demons and to turn the table on your heroes. The price was amazingly cheap. You didn't even have to pay a broker troll's commission. Your own dungeon. Today you're going to see if it's for the first time. And that has to be at the entrance to your new realm. You strut in and find a gigantic cave. Wait a second, why a cave? And it's completely empty. Where's the dungeon? There aren't any walls to create maze-like corridors. There aren't any traps to cause malicious injuries to adventurers. And worst of all, there aren't any monsters to defeat heroes for you. And it dawns on you, that's why it was so cheap. How are you supposed to hide your treasures from marauding adventurers here? After all, hero season is about to begin. There's only one thing left to do. It's time to go shopping at the nearby dungeon discount outlet and then off to the nearest monster tavern to hire staff so that everyone will be ready in time for the heroes headed for your own dungeon. So everything will be ready. So that is a long intro, nice theme, very detailed, very fun. And if I was going to explain it to someone who's coming along, I'm just going to say, you've just got your own dungeon and unfortunately it's not filled with traps. You need to fill it with traps so you can lure in your heroes as it's the beginning of their season. That's how I'd probably quickly explain it to people. We've gone through everything. We've got these templates, very nicely laid out, spaced out well, of course. I'm not saying children will be learning the rulebook, but it's nice that they can quickly relate to that too. So as I mentioned, you're building dungeons, you're defeating heroes and you're counting points. Well, there we go. That's the premise. That's the summary, easily said there. But to go into detail, you begin with an empty dungeon. In the first phase of the game, you complete it by installing walls, traps, monsters, and treasures. This is done by collecting cards and drawing those features onto the dungeon sheet. And these cards will provide weapons, potions, and other useful actions that you'll use to fight any hero who wants to plunder your dungeon in a later phase. You can also use them to support other heroes, plundering your opponent's dungeons. You win if your dungeon has the most valuable treasures and the most valuable and most remaining monsters at the end of the game. If you're wondering why you begin with an empty dungeon, didn't you read the introduction? How are we supposed to explain this to poor rules imps who put their heart and soul into writing it? Well, there we go. So game setup, you're going to take one of these sheets we've seen in front of you, you write your name next to Dungeon Master and create a name for your dungeon next to the dungeon. Well, like cartographers, I'm definitely going to go through and keep my name fresh each round. I don't think you can draw any kind of like shield like in cartographers or like the team that you're part of. There are 60 cards, I'm going to make sure I shuffle them. I think there's 15 of each, I'm assuming them. And you're going to place them face down as a build deck. And depending on the number of Dungeon Masters playing, remove the following number of cards from the build deck and return to the box without looking at them. Okay, so certain things we're not going to see coming up again, so you can't card count. And then place the 4 dungeon templates, the 4 dice and the eraser in the middle of the playing area. It doesn't matter where you put these things, but the rules in wants to make sure that they're mentioned, and all the materials are there for setup. Decide which of you is most malicious and give that start player the pencil sharpener. Oh, no, nice. No, that is very nice. What a brilliant, useful, very German efficiency use of a player marker, first aid marker, and actual tool to write with, which is a very important implement. Of course, real Dungeon Masters don't come to agreement. They have to tell each other old war stories from when they were just a few decades old to determine who was most malicious in mistreating miserable hero parasites back to the day. But sometimes they just roll a die. Okay, so sometimes that's how we're going to decide it. The course of the game is divided into 3 phases. They take place one after the other. Each phase must be completed before moving on to the next phase. Well, like I said, bonus points for doing this. They even say, look, sometimes they just roll side to side. Very D&D about it. That makes a lot of sense. But here are the phases, the 3 phases. Building a dungeon, draw a hero's path, defending that dungeon. Well, that is an overview game. That is me opening it up, being impressed with what I've seen so far. I'm going to be playing it today. Keen to know what you think, so by all means, please ensure you let me know in this video, and also look forward to telling you about it in the coming days and weeks and months and year of me playing this particular game, Doodle Dungeon. And there are more videos coming. At time of recording, there have been a video every single day since 5 months ago now. So looking forward to bringing you more there. There's over 44 still scheduled and even more still on its way. So thanks very much. Enjoy your rest of your day and good luck playing Doodle Dungeon.